Here we go. This one, I know a couple of you have actually seen some of my work before, whether it's in the blueprint conversion system, fast client enrollment system, or actually in the latest lot of PodGuest Profits. We've got people that know the work in PodGuest Profits. And this one is a mix of both. Primarily the last 5 months or so, I've been excited about talking to people about how to get on more podcasts, how to generate income from podcasts. But today is more of an infusion into what you're currently doing in your business and how you can use podcasting to grow it. So as we're going through this, feel free to type in any questions as we go. We'll have time later on for questions. And it's all about you and your actual business itself. So if you can type in, I've got some choices here. I've got you to tell me beforehand, but if you want to just type into the chat, because we've got more people come through. Are you a coach, a consultant? Do you provide services, speaker, author, course creator, etc.? Just type into the chat briefly what you are as your core business. Excellent. Okay, we've got some services. Other people have got slow fingers. Pamela's got some consulting, service professional, etc. Because this is all about, first and foremost, your core business, and podcasting profitably will accelerate the growth of your business. There is probably not too many of you who just want to be a professional podcaster, because you don't get paid to be a podguest. You basically, today we're going to show you how you leverage podcasting to actually grow your existing business. So first and foremost, you need to have your business in a way that you can leverage what we're teaching you today. So the next question is, what are you currently doing to grow your business? Do you have ads? Do you do networking, speaking? Even if you want to just put, if you've got a few of them, the first letter of a few of them, A-N-S-E, running events, or if there's something else that you do that is growing, that is going, okay, Trev's got a bit of camera stuff, that's okay. Networking and referrals. Yeah, because what we're looking to do here is maximize your, what we call ROE, return on effort. Now, I'm going to show a slide later on where we're actually going to do the comparison between organic email marketing, just getting on and chatting on Facebooks and all the other different platforms, versus actually getting on and being a guest on podcasts. So here's a quick question, an interesting one. Where would you prefer to fish? And sometimes do you feel as if you're fishing in the same ocean with a lot of other people? You might want to just type a C in the chat if you're in a fairly competitive market, and if you're out there competing against other people. Have we got some C's dropping in very quickly? Yeah, and you feel as if this is where you're fishing. There's fish there, but there's so many other people out there as well. Or sometimes you feel as if you're out there marketing and you're actually just waiting for a fish to swim by and take the bait. Are you out there fishing in a really big pond and you're just hoping and waiting that the fish is going to come along and bite? Or would you prefer to fish in an enclosed pond where the fish are cultivated, they're hungry, and there are not that many around? And just put a P for pond if you want to fish in that area there. Now, absolutely, PP, absolutely. Yeah, that's a great place to fish. You turn up, you can see the fish, you know that the bait is what they want. You can throw in, you can cast. And if you do it right, there's not that much gap between fishing and actually catching the fish. Now, the first two that I showed you is quite often how people are in business today. Fishing in a very, very crowded area, throwing their marketing out, hoping a fish will swim by. But not many times do you actually get to fish in a curated pond where the fish are hungry. They know there's a feeding time and they come up to the surface and they bite at that certain time. Now, just think about it. The opportunity that you get when you've done it right as a quality podcast guest, you're going into somebody else's fishing pond. You know the type of fish, you know the type of people that are there. If you've done your homework right, you know their pains. You know that you've created your talks, and I'm going to show you how to do that today. You've created your talk answers, engagements, so that it is really appealing to the fish that are there, and they're not going to swim away. And that is basically when you get the art and the science of being a profitable podcast guest, then that's where it'll feel as if you're fishing. So we've spoken about where we want to fish. What is it that you need to grow you and your business? Just quickly checking a message that comes through. Authority positioning, being seen as a leader and an authority in the marketplace. Exposure to quality prospects, more collaborations and more referrals. When you get all of them, there's more people coming and talking to you. However, higher conversions and easier sales. Now, how many of you would love higher conversions? More people you speak to, then you get actually more and easier sales. Okay, here's one quick question. How many of you love, with a passion, selling yourself? Put in 3 S's if you absolutely get up every day saying, I cannot wait to go and sell myself. Oh, we've got 1 yes. Cool. And that's normally the average. We got one laughing. That's the average. We got to probably know normally about 5% who just love and are great at sales. Most of you, I would guess now, that you love doing what you do and you get to that sales part and sometimes it feels icky. And my wife came to me yesterday. She said, Steve, I keep getting these people saying up there, don't sell, just add value and sooner or later they'll buy from you. Now, we all know that we've all got to eat. And a lot of people have a fear of selling because they're taught the old school way. If I can get to it today, I'll show you a way that you can have great conversations where at the end of the conversation, people are excited and they want to do business with you. Type an E in if you would love to have those conversations where they're excited, they're engaged, and they want to. That last E is enroll. And that's what we're going to go through today. So if I could do this today, share the 5 stars, show you how you can be an authority, position yourself, get exposure to quality prospects, more collaborations, more referrals, and higher conversions and easier sales, would you be happy? Would you be happy if I could give you a system, blueprint, roadmap, call it whatever you want to get these? Would that help grow? You've got a big smiley face here. Help grow your business. Now, if that's the case, then that's what we're going to be doing today. So buckle up, get ready. My goal is for that. Now, I'm going to be open, going to be honest. Those of you that have been on my masterclasses are back because you know you get great value, you get great training. But you also know that I can't squeeze it in all at once. There will be an opportunity for those who are ready to take the next step to be able to implement virtually everything that you see today. There's going to be a program to take the next step for me to hold your hand and implement that step by step. So if that's something that you're looking for, it's going to be an amazing program based on 2 of the big ones that I've already done, put together, and you will be able to implement these 5 stars into your business. So time to get excited, guys. And please know that when I do say guys, it's a generic gender. It's for those who, I'm going to be totally politically incorrect here. When I say guys, it's for those of you who identify as a human. Okay, so I'm going to call you guys, and it's for those of you who identify as a human. So get damn excited. Last year, 89% of those in marketing for business as well, indicated that they were going to increase their audio content utilization, increase their spend basically on podcasting and podguesting and audio content. Never before has that been a major category in marketing. Podcasting and podguesting has come of age, and now it is seen as a valid form of marketing. You guys are here. You can be at the front of a tsunami because the number of podcasts is growing exponentially. Now, just do the numbers. For every podcast, most of them have guests. And if all they did was one podcast per month, most of them doing more, one per month, for every podcast, that would be an extra 12 guests. Some of them do weekly. That would be an extra 50 guests for every one podcast that comes out there. Which side of the equation do you want to be on? Do you want to have to set up your own, manage it, invite them, distribute it, pay for the editing and the distribution of it all? Or would you like to learn how you can get on quality podcasts as a guest and be able to leverage, without being salesy or sleazy, other people's networks that they've spent the time creating? So you can type an M in if you want to say, I want mine, or type an O in if you want to leverage others and add value to them. So you're here because you want to get in and leverage others. There are over 3.5 million active podcasts and growing. 150 million weekly listeners in the USA alone. That's over 150 million. And Deb's got her own, and others. The people I work with, and Debbie will know this because she's doing some of my training, what you learn as a guest is very transferable as a host. Now, I've worked with a number of hosting organizations for podcasters, and they have told me that 80% of their hosts are also guests. Okay, so this is very transferable. And on the training yesterday, one of the ladies commented that, Steve, I've got to thank you because what I'm learning in PodGuest Profits transfers all the way through every part of my business. So it's the positioning, the clarity, the communication, how to basically have the sales framework so you can really make a difference. So really excite the people you're talking to want to work with you. So have a look at this and evaluate where you're potentially spending your time, and is it, as we say, a good return on effort, the ROE. Now, I hear over and over again that the reach and effectiveness on most posts, Facebook, LinkedIn, all the algorithms is changing, and you're not getting to as many people as you like. I'm sure you're all feeling that now. Whereas the number of podcast guests, podcasts, and the number of listeners per podcast is increasing rapidly. I'm hearing some people say, I get all of my training, I get all of my education from being a podcast guest. I mean, from just listening to podcasts. So that's going up. You only have limited number of seconds to grab people's attention as you're flying by them on Facebook, LinkedIn, etc. You just see the post go through. You've only got a few seconds. However, as a guest on somebody's podcast, you've got at least 30 minutes, generally minimum 30 minutes, to grab people's attention, create a relationship, and excite them to take the next step with you. You can actually target your exact audience. And we teach people in our course, you start with the audience and who is it you could add best value to, and then look for the host. We've got lists of people that you can go and contact, all of those sorts of things, scripts to be able to target the right person. So you are going to be the authority speaking to them. In most social media, you have no control unless you're paying for ads. Who sees your post? And generally, it's not that many people. You are introduced as the trusted authority. You're given a great introduction. Here is so-and-so. They're going to talk to you on this. And there's a great background that you're introduced as. In social media, you've got to fight for attention. Whereas for those 30 minutes, basically, you are the center of the attention of the people that are either watching and or listening. Audiences show up to listen to you. They're there because of their relationship with the host. The host has said, we've got this person here, whether they're showing up live or they're clicking to watch the replay whenever it's posted. They're turning up. They're listening to you. Whereas on social media, you just pop up as an interruption to their day. And the last thing is the host actually asks you to share your knowledge, skills, and expertise. Whereas in social media, generally, you're jumping up and down and say, hey, look at me, I've got this. And you have to be loud and proud to get out in front of those people to make some sort of an impact and a difference so they can actually connect and see with you. So as we're looking through this, where now do you think the most value would be in getting an ROE, a return on your effort? Put a P if you believe that PodGuesting is a valid form of building your business, or you believe that you get a better return on social media. S for social media, P for PodGuesting, because I spend a little bit of time on social media, enough to keep my face out there, but I spend more time creating quality relationships with hosts and working with them to grow my business. And that's a big, big change from what it was several years ago. So here's a quick question. You can type into the notes. What are your thoughts? How do you think you can make money as a pod guest? Just a quick type in there. How do you think you, or if you are already making money as a pod guest, partnerships? We've got some cheats in here. People have heard me talking about this before, and it is absolutely perfect. So here's what we go through. Here's what we do in our training. We teach you the 4 Ps. And the first P is what most people think about, and that is purchase. You get on there, and many of you have probably heard this, and it's what a lot of people teach to be a good quality podcast guest. It's how to be a great presenter, a great interviewee. And here's the 3 things that you've probably heard. Share your story, share your expertise, and give them a good call to action, which is a single link to go and get something. And generally, people will call it a free gift. So if that's all you're doing, you might as well get to the end of the podcast, get on your knees, put your hands together, look to the sky and pray. Because if that's your current formula, then you are definitely, I'm going to use an old phrase, leaving a lot of money on the table. So the way that, and you'll get some great tips here right now. You'll get some tips on how to have a better conversation, on how you could lead more people to connect with you at the end of your podcast. So yes, you will have more connections, you will have more calls, and you'll have more clients, and you'll have more collaborations. And that's all they're leading them to get into your funnel and buy something. Then there is pass on. Now, that's basically referrals, but because referrals didn't start with a P, I couldn't put it in there, so I got pass on. If you do a clear and memorable podcast that is unique, that other people can talk about what you did and said on there, not, oh, look, we had a good person on there, they gave some good information. If you are just a good something, then you're going to get very few referrals. But if you're clear and unique, then you will get multiple referrals. When I first started, when I was growing my business from Australia to America, had one guy that just got so excited, he actually referred me into 21 different podcasts with the topic of what I was talking about. It's different to what it is now. So pass on. Now, that might be the host passing you on to another person, and it might be the audience saying, hey, you've got to contact this person. I've got his link here. Go and check him out or check her out. Now, here's where the big two are. And they are, as Tony said, partner with people. And it might be the host, it might be somebody in the audience. And we're going to talk about some partnerships that have happened, and people are creating partnerships with the hosts. I'm partnering with probably 4 different people now that actually include my training in their program. They're speaker coaches. And they say, well, listen, once I've taught them how to do this, they actually need to know how to get onto and monetize and get better leverage out of being a podcast guest. There's book coaches and people that are building a great following, making sales, getting connections to build their business on the back of being an author. So when you put the two together, and I actually recorded one yesterday for a book coach, and she's actually including my program, how to get on better and higher quality podcasts for the people that she's helping write the book, because they do go hand in hand. And then there's promote. And one of the big things is working with the host. And here's something for you. In our training, we spend 2 whole weeks showing people how to leverage and get better value out of the podcast pre-chat. The pre-chat. A lot of people think, oh, geez, I've got to go and talk to the host. Damn. It's just a tech check. I know how to work my microphone. I know how to work the camera. Got the lighting right. I'm fine. Look, here's my questions. Go away, will you? No, when you do it right, and when you excite the host about who you are, what you can do, and the value you're going to give their people, not what you talk about, the value you're going to give their people, then magic happens. So many times when you do it right, and now with our people, they will get to the end of that conversations, everything's all fine, we're getting ready, and the host will say, listen, I believe there's something more that we can do than just the podcast, more than just the recording. And then you'll say, let's schedule a meeting to chat about that. And here's how it can happen. Here's one that happened to me, and it happens regularly when you do it right. This was December for me. On the pre-podcast call, we booked a 90-minute workshop. There was 30 people there, and I actually walked away with $14,000. We co-created a new product. We put our programs and products together, and that is now averaging $2,000 to $4,000 per month with the two of us putting our stuff together. The interview was recorded, and from that, there was 2 immediate people came and do my makeover program, and that was $10,000. See, a lot of that came from before the podcast was even recorded. And one of my students, and they hadn't even finished the course, they did exactly the same, followed the pre-chat formula, excited the hosts that much that they booked a webinar before they were even recorded, and she made $12,000 before the podcast was recorded. Put in PC for pre-chat. If you'd like to know how to have the pre-chat to excite the host so that 1, 2, or 3 things would happen. They may create an event or promotion. They may also just get excited and do more promotion of what's coming up. Hey, we've got this great guest coming up, really excited to have them on, etc. But also their energy. And you'll see that it's all about energy coming up. Their energy introducing you, their energy throughout the actual interview, even if it's just pre-recorded, is super high. And that transfers through to the people. The value in getting the first part right and getting the host excited, you can take it to the bank. And most people will just go through the formalities, but no, we teach you how you can really excite the host. Now, just a little bit of geeking out here. I'm giving you this information with absolute conviction and authority because I know it works. It's based on science and it's based on exact results. A company that I work with in America do this sort of testing. They are dead set geeks. They're the leaders in the world. They work with some of the biggest organizations. And 5 years ago, I switched from learning as much as I could about buyers, understanding the buyers better, not becoming a better salesperson, although my sales went through the roof, because understanding the buyer, connecting with them, and knowing the research behind it made a massive difference. So 5 years ago, I started this journey with these guys. They put out all these phenomenal different publications. So I've actually gone through 57 more reports and webinars. For those of you, are you happy that I do this geeking out that you don't have to? Those of you who get to work with me, I'm geeking out on this sort of stuff and adding this sort of value to our training virtually every week. So knowing what we can do as a podcast guest and in your business to better understand the buyer, better connect with the buyer, take them through the journey so they're actually asking to buy is a better place to be. Quick question. Would you prefer to have people ask you to buy? So type in ask to buy if you can understand them better and get them excited to buy, or sell harder. So type in ask or type in sell, because most of the stuff that I've got here is based on the neuroscience and practical results in this, getting people to ask to buy, creating that energy. Here's just a few more of the different publications that I've actually read, distilled, and infused into our training and some of this training here. Very quick, January 21, here in Australia, and those who are in Australia know that businesses go into hibernation at the beginning of January and they start coming out of hibernation, early February sometime, 6 or 8 weeks. I didn't really want to do that. So I decided I'm going to move my business as much as I can via the Zoom chair in the middle of COVID to the foreign country, North America. I did it with one introduction to one networking group and then being introduced to other people and getting on podcasts. It became a 6-figure business in 10 months. That's from 0 to 6 figures. It's not breaking through 6 figures. It's going from 0 to 6 figures. All I had at my disposal, there was not 1 cent spent on advertising. No, it wasn't, Will, it wasn't the first one. JV Directory wasn't the first one that I was in, but I had been a part of that for quite some time. And PodGuesting really made a massive difference. Here's just a few of the different podcasts that I've been on. And one of these squares here, we're in the last stages of finalizing the websites, the plans, etc. When launched, it'll be actually a 7-figure business within 6 months, all from having a good chat before a podcast. Is that worth learning? Yeah, it's really made a massive, massive difference. Now, you got your pens ready, because here's some teaching as well. One of the big things that I found almost by mistake, and I was just about to make one of the biggest mistakes ever. I was introduced to the host of this podcast, and anyone in sales and marketing, these gentlemen here are basically the gods of marketing. You've got Dan Kennedy, Seth Godin, Jay Abraham, Robert Cialdini, Rich Seffron, and I was recommended to go on. Now, here are some things that you should not say. When the person said, "Hey, Steve, you've been recommended to come on. So what is it that you talk about?" I went into the cookie cutter mode of, I help blah, 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 blah. At this stage, it was business people, sell better, et cetera, et cetera. And he just said, oh, you're a sales coach. I'm not sure whether it'd be the right fit. We got a waiting list of 2 to 3 months before we can get you on anyway. So, and it was then that I thought, no, you cannot do that. If you got your pen handy, write this down. This is what thou shalt never say. And those that are going through the training know this. Thou shalt never say. If you're in a networking group and you want to get on podcasts, if you are being asked by a potential host, what is it that you speak on? And you come back and say, I am passionate about, and I can speak on this. Then you are shooting yourself in the foot, because that's turning the spotlight on you, basically saying, give me a stage, get out of my road, and I'm going to preach to your people. Don't ever say, I'm passionate about this and I can speak on this. The things that we teach our people, and I nearly blew it, was here are the 2 to 3 key, and we'll talk about the golden nuggets and how you do it and what it means to the people. And it makes a massive difference. And here's the secret weapon that got me out of trouble. I know a couple of people in here that have their blueprints because they've worked with me. And I said to the host, I said, well, look, I'm different to most other salespeople because I have. And then if you've got your client conversion blueprint, you can say, well, one of the key nuggets that I'm going to give your people is this, and this is the difference it's going to make. And then the next thing was, I'm going to talk to them about the emotive sales pendulum because it does this. And we've actually got the buyer's energy, and we actually talk about this. And that's all part of the blueprint that's going to help your people. And every time there was a golden nugget given to that host on how his people are going to get value from it, he leant in. And within 3 minutes, he was saying, Steve, do you have any time in the next 2 weeks that we could actually record your session? So when you're armed and ready to go in with a framework on how to do it, and B, potentially a blueprint like this that you can get on and just say, well, listen, here's my system for giving your people the results that they're coming to you for. I'm going to share this bit here, which is going to make this difference, this bit here, and this bit here that's going to make this difference. Would that be of value to your people? Could you see how that's a different energy on you coming with this giving, unique giving versus give me a stage? Okay. So that sort of work really makes a difference. I'm going to share a quick video that I actually got yesterday, because this is the blueprint that we're going to talk about being able to implement with you in your business. Those who come and join after, we're going to be spending some time on your positioning and your offer, getting absolute clarity on your position, moving from an A coach, a consultant, a something, as Tony said earlier, he is the creator of. When you move from an A to a the and have absolute clarity in what it is that you say and do, you elevate yourself up the ladder. Now, a lot of people say you've got to put a book out. We've got great authors here already, and you are an author, which means you have written, spoken, videoed about something that you are an authority on. You are an author, which is great. However, the next step above author is creator, which means you have actually created something, potentially on the back of your book, that you are working with other people for them to get results. So it's not just we're reading your book, you have put something out, you have created something. So there's the hierarchy that when you actually go from just a generalist, which is an A, we call that the brown box syndrome, an A, to an authority, to a creator, we leverage the creator much more. So type in G, A, or C. Generalist is you're the brown box, you're the same as everybody else. A as an authority, C as a creator. What level, and it could be a mix, do you want to become and seen as, so that you're introduced at the highest unique authority positioning possible? So just type in, here we've got some C's and C's, some great. Now, this guy that I'm about to share with you started with us in December and really struggling. He took the payment plan just to get into the program. And one of the biggest things that he's going to tell you in just a second is about the value and clarity of positioning and then be able to communicate it. So I'll just quickly share with
Hi guys, my name is Justin R. for Results French, the marketing profit mentor and creator of the Perfect Integration Marketing System. I want to do a quick video testimonial for Mr. Steve Brossman. I've taken his program, PodGuest Secrets. I signed up in December, and that's when everything really started happening for me in my personal brand, my my positioning. I consider Steve my positioning coach, as I tell other people. And so before working with him, I had been struggling with really finding my true niche and my differentiation factor and my positioning. And after working with him, I was able to accomplish many things. Number one, I launched my personal brand site, justinrfrench.com. I launched my my pre-launch for my book, snowballmarketingeffect.com. I launched my first ever Facebook ads secrets course that I launched. I also gained top voice on LinkedIn as the top direct sales voice. I also landed my dream position as CMO, Chief Marketing Officer at Launchcart. So a lot of things have happened. I went from breakdown to breakthrough, and just want to give a big shout out and a testimonial here for Steve Brossman. His positioning definitely helps out. His coaching is extraordinary, and us as marketers, some of the people that we have the most challenging marketing sometimes is ourselves. And so I really had to work with Steve and overcome those challenges. So
yeah, he went on with a few other things, but the biggest thing that you each need and is clarity around your positioning and how you can communicate that. Write this down. You got your pens ready? Clarity equals cash. Write it down. Clarity equals cash. One of the things that I see with so many people that join programs, whether it's this one or other programs, the first thing is getting clarity. And that's the biggest thing that we're going to be working on, because you guys are joining a different program. We're going to spend a couple of weeks group mentoring your positioning, your offering, and creating your blueprint. And then we're actually going to go and join the PodGuest Profits program. And so we've got business hybrid that's going to be in this as well. And that's made a massive difference to Justin. And being able to communicate that has got him multiple places. So next thing, again, if you got your pen handy or you got your keyboard handy, just write this down or remember it. Your results are determined by the energy delivered and emotion stimulated, not the education provided. Not the education provided. Because when you turn that around and you've got the host excited, you're delivering great energy. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to be the ever-ready battery bouncing all the time. It's also being able to communicate with the audience and showing powerful empathy with the people. It's your energy that is going to, and I'm going to give you 3 key tips on the relationships you can build within the actual podcasting itself. So here's the saying that we have: be the prize, not the professor. Now, I got to tell you, all of this came about just on 6 months ago. I was very, very successful in my own podcasting. From January 21 till today, generating over 6 figures every year, just being a podcast guest. and it's grown my business immensely. But one of the clients that first started with me said, Steve, and we started working on her positioning, et cetera, and we're working really well. She said, Steve, I'm paying to get on 2 to 3 podcasts per week. And in 3 months, I haven't generated any clients. And I thought, that's all right. So I had a look and a listen as to the way that she was going about, and she delivered phenomenal information, really high level, geeky type brain stuff. But I felt like there was 2 people in the corner of a room, her and the host, with the back towards me, geeking out on stuff that turned them on. And I was nowhere to be invited into the actual thing. So she was really the professor. And at the end of it, most people would clap, walk out the door, virtual door, and say, that was some really good information. Or you hear people tell their story. And by the way, in our program, we've actually created your bankable story, how to tell your story that engages, excites, and accelerates the people to want to work with you. Most people will tell their story to gain rapport. That's not really what you need to do. It's rapport and revenue when you do it right without being pushy or sleazy. So she was actually doing all of this and was not generating anything. So we turned it around and said, okay, here's how you engage with the host better. Here's how you engage with the audience better. And here's how you actually excite them. And you're going to learn this in 3 more slides, to excite them to want to work with you. In the next 2 podcasts, she signed 2 quality clients. And that was the start of it all. I was like, well, okay, I probably should teach other people this, because then I started listening to a lot of other people, and most were pretty well doing the professor job, doing a great job, giving some awesome information, but not really exciting the people. So how many of you here would love to be able to consistently generate either calls, clients, or collaborations? Put 3 C's if you would like those 3 C's, calls, clients, or collaborations, from being a guest on good quality podcasts. 3 C's. Okay. Because there's a framework, there's ways that people can do it, there's ways that people should do it, and there's ways that most people do it. In fact, I had a really good friend of mine, hadn't heard from him for ages, and he's in South Africa, and because of the time zones, that's why we hadn't connected too much. I've done some work with them, and he's a high-level sales trainer. He says, Steve, I'm seeing your stuff everywhere. I'm actually getting on, because he's got now a system that I might be able to give you shortly. He's got a system where he can actually get booked on 2 to 3 per week. He said, I'm getting on 2 to 3 per week, and I might get an inquiry or 2 here and there. And when, again, we looked at it, he was delivering great quality information, but he was the professor. He was delivering the education, not the energy or emotion. So take time just to reflect. Think about your business right now. Think about what you're doing right now. Keep your pen in your hand, and what would and I don't know the price, I don't know what your people, don't know how many you can handle. I guess you've got some capacity for more. That's why you're here. You're wanting to grow your business. But imagine that you knew that you would consistently generate something, one of the 4 Ps from virtually every podcast that you were on. You might get an extra client. And if all you're learning is to generate 1 new client per month, just do a quick calculation, write down the numbers. I don't need you to type it in. And then what sort of stress would that take off you, your marketing, and your business if you had a framework to consistently be able to do that, and then create some collaborations that can actually generate more? So just think about that before we move on to the next bit. So we've got be the prize, not the professor. it's your emotion and energy, not the education. That's going to make a massive, massive difference. So here is something that I know no one else teaches, but it's something that you need to be aware of. I'm going to share somebody who actually just implemented this and virtually got a client straight away. It's the 3 relationships. Now, most of you know about the relationship between you and the host. Okay. And you're nice people, I'm guessing, and you're here and you want to get on podcasts and create a relationship with the host. When you have built a significant and excited relationship with the host before you get on, the actual interview, the podcast is amazing. Absolutely amazing. And then you think about there is you and the audience. Okay. And a lot of people think that if I do a good job, all I need to do is answer the questions, deliver some good information, and be a personable person, be a nice person. And they focus on the actual host. You, the host. Yes, you're talking to the host, but it is your job to bring the audience into the 3-way conversation. They're not saying anything, but have you ever sat at a table where 2 of you are mainly having a conversation, but you don't ignore, you don't fixate on the host itself. You nod and you talk, and you're bringing them in. So there's ways that we teach you to bring them in. It might be Tony. Tony's my host, and say, Tony, this next bit is just for your people because I know they're going to get some great value out of this. Now, you've just brought them in. You've just basically told them, put your stuff down, pay attention to me, but I'm talking to you because this is for you. Now, you've just given them a surge of oxytocin, that belonging drug. They feel part of it. Now they're starting to get a deeper connection and relationship with you. And when you think about that relationship and the relationship of the host, the whole energy changes. And the energy at the end of the conversation changes. The other thing is the host and the audience. Now, how do you elevate and edify the host in front of their audience? You're probably thinking, why should I? What's that got to do with it? Well, you're only there because of them. Okay? You're only there because of the host. The audience is only there because of the host. It's their relationship that you're banking on. So you need to be able to become part of that relationship. And it might be that we've got Enza here. Enza's my host. And Enza, I know from the fantastic work that you're doing in this area that, and then you go on to potentially answering a question. You've got that. So you've just elevated and edified the host in front of the audience, and the audience is thinking, wow, they're speaking about my host in a great way. Their relationship is getting stronger, but you've just given the host a surge of oxytocin and dopamine, more importantly. So you've brought the host in, and the dopamine is the feel-good drug. It's the achievement drug. It's making them feel really good. So at the end of it, and as that's building, the relationship and the feeling is something that they don't want to end. And there's also different ways that we show you how you can introduce your gift. Oh, hang on, I'll give one of them now. Most people will wait to the end, and they're waiting for the host to say, so how can people contact you? And you've got something for my people. And 9 times out of 10, you've probably heard it. You may have even said it. I have a free gift for your people. Ban that. Never, ever, ever again will you say that. You bring it forward. There's ways that we seed compliments. The host is saying, wow, my people are going to love that. They're really going to enjoy what you just gave them. Oh, yeah, thanks so much, Stephanie. I know they're going to love it. In fact, I've got something special for them. It's going to include this training that gives them this, and then a bit of this and a bit of this. You give a little nugget of what's going to be in the training. Oh, look, we'll talk about that when we get to the end. So you're seeding the value of the free gift and opt-in all the way through, and you're building the relationship and the law of reciprocity because you're giving something out of their free something, and then create the free that's going to be of high value. That's just off the track a little bit. Now, I'm going to share with you, and again, I got this week. This lady actually hadn't come to the training, but she had gone through some of my written work and implemented 2 strategies out of it and virtually signed up the host on the very next podcast that she was a guest on. Here's what.
Hi, my name is Stephanie O'Brien. I recently read Steve Rossman's Back Pocket Guide for Being a Better Podcaster and Getting More Money Through Podcasting. In my latest interview where I was the guest, I used a few of the methods that he talked about in that book. I actually booked a breakthrough session for a potential sale during the interview with the host. So I can definitely confirm this Back Pocket Guide has great information on how to be a better podcast and how to connect more with the host and with the audience.
And as it happens, Stephanie and I are now doing a joint venture for some of the work with her people to be able to implement being a much more profitable podcast for the people that she works with. So again, a chat, implemented some of the stuff that she got very quickly and early, some of the stuff that you're getting here, and put it into practice. And now we're working with her people. So who here is ready for the golden formula to increase their sales, reduce their stress, and do it all without being sleazy? Well, I'll put 3 S's in there: sales, stress, and sleazy. More sales, less stress, less sleazy. We got 3 S's. Sure. Okay. Again, this is based on some of the neuroscience, the order that you actually do informations, insights, questioning, etc. That other company. I worked with them and I showed them this about how we did it. And they've agreed that this is probably one of the most powerful sales conversation frameworks you can do. And it's how you can actually have your conversation with the host and the guests and actually increase your sales. Okay. You got your pen handy. I hope you have. Okay. The D stands for data. That's information. It's information. It's a nugget of information. It's a packet of information. It's not the whole box and dice. So a lot of people go on a monologue and that's what they do. They just keep giving lots and lots of information. That's you being the professor. Okay. The next thing is narrative. Now that's a quick story. And those of you that are in my program already, we talk about the hero and horror stories. There's a set, simple framework that you can deliver a quick story, 90 seconds or less, on that little bit of information you just gave. And that reminds me of somebody that we just worked with who had this problem and they got this solution by using the nuggets out of our blueprint. Okay. So that's the quick story, because we remember stories. You don't remember a shopping list. How many times have you got in trouble by forgetting something that was on the list that you kept in your pocket? I do it all the time. But you can remember stories, and they get emotively involved in stories. And the way that we teach it, you start the beginning of the story and the audience is doing the JLM effect, the just like me. Quick story. Yeah, that's just like me. Wow. I want to listen. Okay. Here's the part of your system that you've created, the named system that you've created. Here's part of the blueprint that I've worked with that person on, and we did this. And at the end, you've got a result. So that's like me, and that's the result or outcome, whichever you want to call it. And that's the when Harry met Sally effect. I want what she's having. I want what he's having. When you learn to do your quick narratives like that, you get them engaged. And then the next is quantify. Now, in a sales conversation, you would actually take the time to, could you see this working for you? If this was to work for you, what sort of an impact would it make? They listen to the story, they listen to the information, they listen to the story. Yeah, that would work for me. That's fantastic. Now, if we were to do that, what would it do? Now, there's the financial, and then there's the emotive. Value, quantify. And then the next and the last, the crucial, particularly in the sales conversation, and I haven't told you this, but the third small group mentoring for those who join with this program will have me mentor you on this sales training and the use of your blueprint to put your sales conversions through the roof, and you get them to confirm. So imagine you're having a conversation with somebody and they've said, oh, I've had this problem, blah, blah, blah. And you come back with, hey, yeah, part of the blueprint, part of the system that we work with people just like you to get this, and this results. Here's the theory behind it. You won't say that. In fact, one of the people that we worked with, and you pull out your hero story, that's just like them, they were suffering the same as you're suffering. Here's what we did for them, and here's the result we got. Could you see that working for you? Yes. Hey, if we were to do that, let's calculate what that would mean. And you could monetize it or emotions, depending on what it is that you're doing. And you write that down. I show you how to write it on the screen with the people. And as you're going through the conversation, and you do this 2 or 3 times, and at the end of that bit there, you say, well, sounds like that's going to add this much value to your business or your life. Is that a priority of yours right now to work on that? Yes, it is. Yeah, fantastic. Great. Well, you write that down. You can move on to the next one. By the time you've collected 1, 2, or 3 of these, you'll put value into their pocket. They've understood, they've collaborated with you, so they're a part of the solution. And they've confirmed several times it's a priority. How hard do you think it is for them to say, no, I don't want to work with you? Virtually objections go out the door because they have already seen greater value than what they're about to pay. Now, think about your, let's get into sales nitty gritty, conversion rates. Yeah, how many conversations do you have? How many sales do you make? If all this did was increase your conversion rates, and for some people, it goes phenomenally high, increase your conversion rates by 20 to 30%. That means you get an extra sale every 2 or 3 calls you make. What would that do to your business? And what would it do to you personally, knowing that you've actually got a framework, a conversational framework that you're going to enjoy having sales conversations with the people, because you know that you're adding what we call agreed implementable value. Write that down. Agreed implementable value. Don't sell the box, sell the agreed implementable value. So, and then they've confirmed, yeah, I want that. Yep, this is fantastic. So they're confirming that, and you're getting excited because you're delivering results, and that's where the energy goes through the roof. Type in the bottom here, DNQC, the whole thing. Going to make you work for this one. If you believe that this is a good conversation/sales framework that would make a difference to you and your business. So write in DNQC, because it has made a massive difference. I know a couple of people here know a lady called Sashua Benet, and she went through one of my recent programs, a leadership coach consultant. I got a note from her on Facebook. I'm not going to put it up. She said, Steve, I'm getting the hang of using DNQC in all of my conversations, and I'm now converting at 100%. Now, she's not a hotshot salesperson, but she's somebody who enjoys the right conversation, having a good conversation and leading the person and letting them see what is it that we could do together. And here is the value, and having the stories in at the right time. I cannot stress how powerful this is. This is what I gave you just then. This is what I work with my overseas SaaS companies, software service companies, with their salespeople at $10,000 a training session, and you've got it for free today. And for those who come and join us and get the hang of it in the next training program, It's not going to be anywhere near the $10,000, I'll tell you. So put an E in if you are ready to explode your business. Put an E in. Are you ready? Quick question. Do you have capacity to handle more clients? And are you ready for more? Here's how we're going to do it. Here is the blueprint that I've personally used, I've taught, and other people are using part or all of it. I'm going to go through it in a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to really give you something absolutely special. So we've got the podcast here. Now, as a business owner, you need to think of and leverage the podcast as a tool to grow your business. It's not a one-stop destination. It's an integration. And what we'll be doing, those of you who work with us, and we actually sit down and map out your own personal, profitable podcasting strategy. Where does it fit in here? Because this is not for everybody. You may not have all of these pieces ready, but you may have part of them. That's one thing that we will do, is map out your own personal, profitable podcasting strategy. So we've got the podcast here. And generally speaking, when we position you as the creator, create your own unique authority positioning, and show you how to have the pre-chat, you will get in front of more audiences. Okay, I can see some faces here. Do you wave? Do you agree? From what you've learned so far, if we put that into place, you would be able to use this and get in front of more audiences. Great. Once you're on the podcast, just the little bit of structure and strategy that I've shown you today, do you now believe that you will get more people that are going to connect with you, book in calls, become clients, and become collaborators and referrals? So what you've seen today will enhance the value of your podcast. Okay, so if all you want to do is put some numbers next to it, that yes, you're going to get in front of more because of who you are, and better, high quality. Yes, you will get more clicks at the end, inquiries, to be able to talk to you and work with you. So that's what we call the linear side of things. That's the one by one by one by one. Okay. Then when you work with the host, put in PC. If you believe that the pre-chat is of value conversation to have with the host to be able to build this and this here. Because when you do it right, you're going to be talking to more high quality hosts, and you're going to be able to work with them and excite them more about potential promotions and potential partnerships. I'm not going to go into much detail of those, but that's something that we do talk about on how you leverage your relationship with the host. Now, let me tell you, a lot of people are thinking, how do I get on the big podcast? How do I get in front of all of these big people? You don't have to. A lady I worked with last year, she came to me and she said, Steve, I'd love you on my podcast. It's not that big. Would you mind coming on? And I looked at her audience and I said, of course. Unless it's really out there and it's for the wrong reasons, I normally say yes. But also, here's another key thing. I treat every potential podcast inquiry as a $20,000 inquiry. Now, I did this way back when I had my health club back in the 80s. And I told all of my staff that you treat everybody coming through the door as a $600 client. They could be coming in for a free guest pass. They could be coming in for a $3 aerobic class, way back then. I said, it's the $300 for the membership that they will take and the $300 that they're going to bring along because we've given them outstanding service. So I treat everybody as if they're royalty, give them everything as if they're the highest of level podcasters because they deserve that respect. They're putting in their heart and their soul to get their podcast going. So I said, yes, love to. We had our pre-chat. She says, Steve, this is awesome. My people are going to love this. Can we do something else together? And we actually created what I call a closed door event, just a workshop just for their people. So we did the podcast, we did the workshop, and they were fantastic. It wasn't huge. And I'll tell you now that none of her episodes has got more than 100 views. So it's not a big podcast, but still treated her with the respect. That workshop, and she was that excited that she was an affiliate for 2 more of my own events. That person with that tiny podcast generated me $18,000 in 6 months. So you don't have to get on the biggest and the best. Treat everybody with respect. And when you use this framework, you can get great returns even on small podcasts, and then leverage and grow and grow and grow. You got to look at this here. It just exponentially expands. So that blueprint there is the plan for you to be able to leverage and grow your business by adding quality podcasting to it. Put in B. If you look at this and say, yeah, this will help me grow my business, just type in a capital B, make it worthwhile, make it a capital B, if you know that this bit here will grow your business. Because I'm going to share with you now how you can actually make that happen. Because we all know the iceberg. And what I've given you right now today, here's a corny phrase, I've given you the tip of the iceberg. And it's this 90% here that I haven't given you that keeps the iceberg above water. This bit here, all of this below the surface, behind the doors, the little nuances that you're going to get when we work together, this is going to give you the big 10% that's going to make a massive, massive difference. Now, of course, there are going to be people here that's going to take the information I've given you, and you will get some results from it, which is great. So what's going to happen is you'll take this 10%, there's the waterline, and that 10% will now be another iceberg with the 90% falling below the surface. You'll actually probably end up implementing less than 1% and get the returns. Now, do you want the whole iceberg, or do you just want to take what you can see so far and give it a crack yourself? Because what may be coming next, and there might be some people here that sit on the fence. Like I was saying, the only thing you get sitting on a fence is splinters in your bum. Nothing else happens. So a quick lady that I actually kicked in the bum, so to speak, she'd been doing my free live events. She'd been doing, and some of them were in person when back the days when I did those, and she was doing my online events and nothing much was changing. And I said, Janine, I've got one coming up. This is the last one you're coming to. You must do this next training. And we did. The first thing we did was her positioning and her packaging. She added 50% to her prices, signed up 3 brand new clients at the next level price in the first week and 2 more the week after. That's 5 new clients in the first 2 weeks of just changing the positioning and the packaging. Now, we did a quick calculation that if all that she had done was those 5 people 3 years ago and nothing else had changed, she actually missed the opportunity on increasing her income $140,000. It cost her not to do the program 3 years ago. By sitting on the fence, it was costing her money because she was fantastic at what she did. She was a virtual assistant. Now, virtual assistant has a perception of being a certain level and getting a certain income. And she was struggling to really grow because she was working so damn hard. However, what we did, it's the formula, it's the flow. We created her blueprint and recreated her positioning. Would you believe you would pay more for a business growth system specialist or a virtual assistant? Put in a B if you think you'd pay more for the B, the business growth system specialist, or a V if you think you'd pay more for a virtual assistant. Because that's where she was. She was the VA. The minute the positioning changed, she still was delivering the same thing. She actually still went into businesses, looked at what they needed and created systems and worked as a virtual assistant. It took 6 weeks for her to need to put on an extra person, and has put on an extra 3 since. Moving from the VA to the system specialist and creating a blueprint. This is my system to grow your business, not, hey, I can deliver great services. Do you want to buy? I don't know whether that fits with any of you. I know a couple of you said that you do provide services. Those of you who provide services and or sell your knowledge, your skills, or your expertise need a blueprint. If you sell the intangible, this helps you sell the tangible. It becomes tangible. So for those of you who would like to take the next step and implement everything that you've seen on the screen so far, I'm going to take a few minutes to wrap up, to let you know what the next steps are and what you should expect from coming to join us. However, I'm going to break all the rules. I'm not going to be one of those crazy salespeople say, but wait, there's more, and, give you a big price. I'm going to tell you right now that if you stay, there is nothing here that you'll pay more than $1,000 for. I have a program that's going to help you grow your business for less than $1,000. Does that make you happy? Because looking at what's going on in the world, my goal is to get this out there to show other people that they suck, they're wrong, they're ripping people off. So I have to get it in the hands of as many people like you to implement it, get great results, and really change the world the way things are happening out there. So when you come along to, it's actually called PodGuest Business Fast Track. And it's based on 2 things. It's based on the Blueprint Conversion System. That is the program. And I know a couple of you have gone through that. Now, here's the thing. If you've gone through one of my programs already, you just need to contact me because this will be different for you. It'll just be a little add-on. Okay. So Blueprint Conversion System gives you your positioning, your blueprint, and sales. In the PodGuest Profits as it stands, you get the online training. In the program that you're going to join me with, you get me mentoring you on these 3 key bonus areas, okay? So we've got 3 group mentoring sessions that are additional to the previous PodGuest Profits program. So that will help you stand out, create your offer, create your blueprint, and have stress-free sales. Now, video mastery. You may have seen earlier that videos is still recommended as one of the most powerful forms. I didn't tell you earlier, but I've got over 20 years in and out of television and videos. I hosted a network TV show, been executive producer for Warner Brothers, and have actually been interviewed live on network TV across 5 continents. So there's a fair chance that I've got some knowledge on getting in front of the camera, how to use the camera, and being able to use the camera as a sales tool for you. So that is all part of your program. You will get video mastery that you'll be able to go through, go back over and over again to be able to pick up the little nuances on how you can connect with people through the camera. Did you pick up the little nuance there? They're the things that you're going to learn to be able to really make it work for you, to break down the barriers, to talk through that little damn black hole called the camera, and really connect with the people. I put in a V if you believe video really should be a growing part of your business. That should be everybody that's still left in the room. Because if you don't believe it, and around 80% of podcasts are recorded as a video. Now, when you learn to be that magnetic guest, that dynamic guest, and it doesn't mean you have to be big, loud, and proud. When you can connect, create a relationship through the lens, then you really are going to be a powerful, dynamic, and profitable podcast guest. So they're the first two parts. Then you actually get the 6-week live training PodGuest Profits program. And we will be going through the pre-chat, how to engage, how to build the energy, how to lead the people, the language, the scripting that you use to excite the people that want to work with you, whether it's the host, whether it's the audience. That's all part of your PodGuest Profits training, and that's going to be doing it live. I really could be lazy and just give you a heap of recordings. I've done this program 5 times. They're great recordings. And I could just sit back and say, watch that, and we'll just do some Q&As. No, I'm delivering it with you every time, because as we're going through, we're refining it, and you are getting the latest and you are getting the best. So it will be me with you live. How many of you actually bought programs and you never see the host? You never see the expert say, hey, go and do this? No, you're not left alone, and no one is left behind. Because we've got the group mentoring. There's going to be a short, small group for doing the business side of it. And then we'll all jump in. We've got 50 other people in the PodGuest Profits group, and we'll all be in there sharing. There's going to be people in there that you're going to meet to get on their podcast or be recommended. Because what's happening very shortly, and what's happening soon, as doing PodGuest Profits training becomes a badge of honor, you will be a sought after guest, because they know that you're somebody who can deliver, who can connect, and they may be somebody that will say, hey, listen, if you've got something to offer, I want to promote it. Can I be an affiliate? And I'm going to really push you throughout my podcast, because they know that you can deliver. So when you're going through this training, you will become a more sought after guest. So I'm just going to quickly let you know on a retail value, if you were to pick up the pieces and go shopping for all of this, we've got the actual PodGuest Profits training and resources. I have in some of the other groups, closed doors, in their private training, it has been sold for around $1,500. The Blueprint conversion system is business and life-changing. The initial 6 weeks mentoring, that's the PodGuest Profits. You've got video mastery and the bonus business mentoring, where I really do the growth of you and your business in that training as well. So that in itself is actually just somebody dropping in. That in itself is virtually an $8,000 program. But, you know, I broke the rules and I told you that you're not going to pay anything over $1,000 for what you're getting. So in the actual PodGuest Profits training and resources, everything that we have gone through, I've packaged in to deliver for you. Because a lot of you have just said, yes, this is great, this is great. And then half the time they're left off. No, you are going to be shown how you can be the prize, not the professor. And the big thing that you heard Justin talk about, the clarity. That there was dollars for him, changed his life. How to build the host and the audience energy. Build the 3 relationships. Do you think those 3 relationships was pretty cool? Stephanie did it, and she actually signed the host up as a client just from using the 3 relationships. The DNQC, all of you said that that is powerful to learn as a guest, but it is powerful to learn as a sales script as well, a sales framework. The good thing is with this new program, you get it as both. You get to use it as a guest and you get to use it as somebody who's selling their programs. You get to learn and practice the storytelling, how to use the language, to build the relationship, and to use those 4 Ps, that blueprint that I showed you. That is all in PodGuest Profits training and resources. Quick question as you go through. Have I missed anything? And is there anything there that you would like added? to be as comprehensive as possible. But yeah, looks like it's pretty comprehensive.
Steve, you did mention earlier on, do we get access potentially to some sort of directory that we can search for relevant podcasts?
Would 954 podcasters be good enough for you?
Probably more than enough.
Okay. Yep. So the answer is yes. And
Okay.
you know what? That same question was asked last time and I didn't put it on the list because, yes, you do get that. And you also get a list of other directories that I've looked at and resourced that are worthwhile. There are others out there that are expensive and a ripoff, but you do get the podcast directory. So
Thanks,
yes,
Steve.
and some scripting as to how to contact. Thanks, Tony. The blueprint conversion system, which is the business building side. It's really how to consistently convert calls and clients without ever being pushy. It's the sales thing. How many of you put an F if you like fast results and type an S in if you like slow results? Put a capital F if you like very fast results, because I'm about to share somebody with you who went through the blueprint conversion system course on his own in a weekend. And this is what happened.
Hey, Steve, I just wanted to say thank you so much for the blueprint conversion system course that I did over the weekend. I just went through and absolutely devoured it. Spent the time doing the exercises and really taking the time to nail what was covered in the videos and go through the training, the templates and everything that was given to really understand and go through that process that now I've come away from after spending a day and a half going through everything. I've come away from it knowing better about my positioning, that I can actually articulate who I am and what I do. My packages are sorted, they're set, they're right. And 2 days after creating my blueprint, I actually closed a $15,000 sale, which I'm just so happy about because of the help of what this blueprint did. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for that. It has helped immensely in my entire sales process, and it has just been one of the most valuable courses.
Quick question. Is 2 days long enough to learn how to generate $15,000? If you like fast results, and I know a couple of people know Ryan, he's also a great podcast host. So he's actually gone through the blueprint conversion system on his own before any of the mentoring and just devoured it, as he said, devoured it, put it into place and being able to generate his packaging, his blueprint, his sales, and made a $15,000 sale just 2 days later. So if you want fast results, I'm not guaranteeing you're going to get that in 2 days, but when you do the work and we work together and you implement it, there will be some great results. Video mastery, without going into too much details, those of you that may have an adversity and you have a fear of the camera, being exec producer for Warner Brothers and being able to host, produce and direct network TV shows, there's a fair chance I can help you. So there's the course, but you also can ask any questions in the group itself. The personalized group mentoring, you get two. There's one that's going to be the sales and business building, and you've also got PodGuest Profits with the rest of the group as well. So you're going to be joining a group in there, small group, but you get 2 sets of mentoring. They're all recorded. If you can't turn up, that's fine. They got the advanced training, Q&As and hot seats. That's where the magic happens. Okay, if you can get to the live, that's fantastic. And I get to work personally with you in that small group on your actual business itself. So here's a quick snapshot of what's going to happen. When you join, you're going to have access to the PodGuest Profits training. That will start early May, okay? I'm going to run through how it all works. That will start early May. However, before that, we get to go through the business building side, just the 2 parts, your positioning, offer, and blueprint. We will work with you to build this. Then you can actually keep working on that while we're doing PodGuest Profits. At the end of the training, we will reconvene and then you'll get the advanced sales training, knowing what you know about PodGuest Profits and how you're going to be doing. It's better to give it to you once you've got everything together so you can apply all the advanced sales training after you've actually done all that. And then we get together as the small group and we'll go through your scripting, your presenting, how to use your blueprint, and basically how to handle the avalanche of inquiries, clients, and collaborations once you've actually get them coming through your podcasting. So what we've got here, here's the dates. It's basically going to start next Friday for the bonus training. If you're in America, it's the Thursday. It's the same time as you started today. Okay, the same time that you started today. So next Thursday, Friday, we'll be creating your unique authority positioning and offer. And the week after that, we'll be creating and using your blueprint. As again, just reiterating, it's 4 p.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Sydney time, and then we'll be doing that. Your PodGuest Profits is on the Tuesday, Wednesday, but don't worry about that. You'll get the emails definitely coming out. Quick recap. It's a bundle, it's a lot, but it makes sense that I've only put what's necessary and nothing else. You get your PodGuest Profits training because that's what you hear in the first place. You get your blueprint conversion system because that's going to build your business. Video mastery, scripting, and presenting because that's an essential tool. You get your 6 weeks in PodGuest Profits and you get your bonus business building mentoring. As I said, that's 8. You're not got that. If you want the great price, as I said, the reason I'm doing this at this ridiculously low rate for you is to get this out there in the hands of as many people as possible. Now, I have calculated what it is for Aussies versus the US. It's just over 1,000 for the Aussies. It's around 555. It's for the US. For those of you who want to take the payment plan, I made that even easy. You can get started growing your business. You can get results like everybody else that you've seen before within days or weeks. And that'll make the next 2 payments virtually free because you're going to be paying them out of profits. Hunter, if you could put the 2 links in, thank you. I'm going to have to call him Radar. You remember MASH? Thanks for putting those in. Just click through there and you can actually register. You'll get access to the training immediately. So it's just the 555 or just over $1,000 if you are in Australia. And if you want to take the payment plan, by all means, because I know in the first month, we are going to make such a difference for just $200 that the rest of it will virtually be irrelevant. The links are there. However, I'm an ex-sprinter. I'm an ex-national professional track champion training for the Olympics for the 100 meters. So I love rewarding fast people. If you take action, join us in the next 48 hours, what would it be like to have me mentoring you virtually for free for another 10 months? Would you like to hang out and be mentored for an extra 10 months for free? Then you get the Gold Pass. You join us in the program and you get the 12-month Gold Pass where you can come to PodGuest Profits because you can keep coming back and refine and refer. You can do all of that for the next 12 months. So if you register, come and join, you will get that 48-hour bonus Gold Pass. Now, because we're in different time zones, I'm going to make it as easy as possible. It will be Sunday midnight Pacific time because that's basically the last. That's about 3 days for some people. Okay. Sunday midnight Pacific time is really the 48-hour bonus because it's just easy. So opening is going to be immediately. And as soon as you're there, you can actually start jumping in the group, asking questions, and I can actually start working with you. So at this point in time, you've pretty well got 2 choices. You can jump into the program. You can take the paid in full. You can join on a payment plan, make it nice and easy. You can join us there. There might be 1 or 2 of you who need to have a quick chat. Will it work for me? Will it not? I've got this. I may be different. Okay. If you need to have a call, use this call link. And if there's nothing available, send me an email, because I always have spare ones available. I don't always have a lot available for American times. There are some, but not that may suit you. Book your call. If you do book your call in the next 24, 48 hours and you join us, you will be given the 48-hour bonus. The 48-hour bonus is for those of you who take action, those of you who join us, and those of you who book a call just to ask that last question about what it is. You're still here because you're still looking for change. You're still looking for that thing to make a difference in your business. Now, here's the way people work. There's three ways people work. There's guesswork, and that causes a lot of pain. I'm out there, I'm having a go with this, I'm having a go with that. Yeah, there's guesswork. Then there's hard work, and quite often the guesswork does the hard work and say, I'm working really hard, just as like the people who said, I'm getting on 2 to 3 podcasts a week and I'm not getting any results. There's the hard work. And then there's the framework. I'm going to ask you to think about now, do you prefer guesswork or hard work? Do you prefer doing things the hard way, or do you prefer doing things the easy way? Do you think and you prefer doing things the easy way but end up doing them the hard way? The best way I have always found, if there's something that I needed to do, I will pay to learn and pay to get a framework that I could follow over and over again. The people that you've seen on the screen, the results that they've got is because they have followed a proven framework. So you can book your call, you can join the program,